TNA. Not really TNA, but Trey Miguel, primarily. If you guys do not know, if you guys watched the second edition of TNA Impact on AMC, there was a shock to a lot of people. And this was coming after the news that Trey Miguel was officially released from his AEW contract moments after he signed a contract with his buddies as a part of the Rascalz. Well, Trey Miguel this past Thursday on Impact made his return to TNA just after being released from AEW. Now, we have details regarding the reason as to why Trey Miguel got released from All Elite Wrestling. And I am going to be very straightforward with everybody on this whole topic. I'm going to be very, very, very straightforward on this whole topic because, again, stuff like this bothers me as a fan, but from a professional standpoint, this bothers a lot of people as well, and it bothers me badly because I'm not the type of person that's for cancel culture. Like, I think cancel culture and getting canceled over something you said years ago and something that you apologized for saying. I mean, the fact that you get the nod like that and get released for your contract, to me, is ridiculous when you have far worse people employed on any roster. You know what I'm saying? But we have details on Trey Miguel's AEW release, and there was some frustration behind the scenes, and I'm reading this from Yahoo Sports. According to Fightful Select, the latest report by Fightful Select, the outlet was told Miguel's release, which was heavily implied to be a Warner Brothers Discovery decision, was in relation to a 2020 post of the Stars that was homophobic in nature, one that Miguel immediately apologized for. Fightful reported that they were told that no other posts or situations were said to have factored into Trey Miguel's release. The outlet also reported that the internal reaction in the company was mainly frustration, as all of the Rascalz, Trey Miguel, Desmond Xavier, Zachary Wentz, and Myron Reed, have good relationships with AEW. There were some wrestlers who felt as though that there are different standards applied to AEW talent that don't apply to other personalities who have appeared on other Warner Brothers Discovery properties. I mean, ironically, think about this. I actually agree with that because think about this. I mean, Warner Brothers Discovery did the same thing with Jay Briscoe, and it took Jay Briscoe passing away in order for them to actually acknowledge Jay Briscoe, which is ridiculous and insane. And I blame Warner Brothers Discovery for that because they were stupid in that nature. But there were some wrestlers who felt as though there are different standards applied to AEW talent that don't apply to other personalities who have appeared on other WBD properties. Right off the top of my head, I'm immediately thinking Ezra Miller. Right off the top of my head, I'm thinking about Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller is a controversial figure, but WBD had no problem releasing The Flash. But yet you got an issue with Trey Miguel and, him getting released from AEW. Now, some people are questioning the nature of WBD's decision, and some people are even questioning that WBD may not have been the factor of Trey Miguel's release, and it was a Tony Khan decision. Some content creators are saying that Tony Khan is lying. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. Whatever your conspiracy theory is regarding this whole issue, some people are saying that TNA exposed AEW by bringing back Trey Miguel because AMC clearly doesn't have a problem with them bringing back Trey Miguel, but WBD does. Well, AMC and WBD are two completely different organizations. You do not know what is going on in the realm of those organizations and what their standards are and what their standards aren't at the end of the day. Tony Khan, in my opinion, at the end of the day, first off, Tony Khan was the one that signed Trey Miguel to a contract regardless. He signed Trey Miguel to a contract. I guarantee you Tony Khan probably knew about all this stuff, and he probably thought, you know what? He's changed as a person. He deserves to be here, but a higher up was clearly like, no, we do not want him here. So they basically Jay Briscoed Trey Miguel, which sucks. It absolutely sucks. Because you got other people on that AEW roster who have done far worse things, said far worse things than what Trey Miguel said back in 2020 that are still a part of that roster. Other wrestlers across multiple different promotions, WWE, New Japan, TNA, everybody has done far worse things than the things that Trey Miguel has said. Were the things that Trey Miguel said back in 2020 terrible? Yes, they were. But he apologized for it. So why should he be penalized? Regardless of who made the decision, why should he be penalized for stuff that he said 6 years ago? This is ridiculous. People have done far worse things that are still employed, yet you target Trey Miguel over some quote-unquote homophobic things that he said back in 2020. Why? Is there something that we don't know? What is it? Off the top of my head, I'm thinking about Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara, if you guys remember during the Speaking Out movement, he said some very nasty things a couple years before AEW was even a thing. I think it was like 2016. And I believe it was on, I think it was Kevin Scampoli's show, the whole Evan show. You remember that crap? Kevin Scampoli, I think that's his name. The embarrassment that being Kevin Scampoli. Sammy Guevara said some very nasty things about Mercedes Moné, or at the time, Sasha Banks. And he got penalized for it. And rightfully so, because it was coming at a time where the entire wrestling industry, and rightfully so, was being exposed because a lot of people were acting like assholes. And a lot of people were doing very, very, very unprofessional things. The Speaking Out movement needed to happen because it needed to show, this other side of wrestling that a lot of people just don't see. And unfortunately, it costs a lot of people jobs, but at the same time, there's no place for you to do those types of things. Like Joey Ryan, I never liked Joey Ryan. He was disgusting to me. Joey Ryan was disgusting. And the stuff that came out about Joey Ryan were horrible. Horrible. And he deserved, let's be honest, he deserved to not be employed by any other professional wrestling promotion at all. Yes, people may change, but at the same time, people like that should be blacklisted from wrestling. I'm sorry. Because there's no place for that type of behavior. But in terms of Trey Miguel's case, he didn't do anything that is on the level of like a Joey Ryan. Like all he said was things that, let's be honest, are not too nice, but like people are young and they say stupid shit. I'm young and I still say stupid shit. We all do. But he shouldn't be penalized for that. For quote unquote homophobic comments. Like if he did something that was on the level of like Joey Ryan, I would understand. But this was something that he said back in like what, 2020? And even then, cancel culture was still prevalent. So like, why would he say it in 2020? But still, he apologized for it. He apologized for what he said. And unfortunately, he's paying the price for it, and it sucks. Like, think about this. Trey Miguel gets, he leaves TNA, and he finally gets a chance to go with all of his buddies to a much larger wrestling promotion like AEW, only to find out that he's once again getting split up from all of his teammates once again because of some stuff that he said years ago. Like, look, it's great that Trey Miguel is back in TNA. It's great that he's back and he has a place to work. But at the same time, I feel so bad for Trey Miguel. Because if you look at the look on his face, you can tell he's very aggravated. Like, dude, this was my chance to like come in and make a big impact, no pun intended, in AEW. And right as soon as I sign a contract, this bullshit happens. And I get released from my contract immediately because of some stuff that I said that I apologized for. And he's back in TNA. Probably getting paid significantly less than he was in AEW. Because this is definitely hitting Trey Miguel financially as well. TNA just doesn't pay the amount of money that AEW does. He lost a lot of money there, and he must be very upset. And if I'm Trey Miguel, I'd be very upset too. But in terms of whether or not this was a Tony Khan issue, a Warner Brothers Discovery issue, at the end of the day, we do not know what the hell happened. Who was the higher up that made that decision? Nobody knows. Everybody's immediately assuming, oh my God, Tony Khan made the decision. It was his fault. But at the same time, I'm like, Tony Khan is the guy that signed him. He must have known about some of the stuff that Trey Miguel said back then. But, I mean, he should have known already. Could it have been a higher up at Warner Brothers Discovery? Pretty much. Some people don't believe it. And if you don't believe it, I'm not going to argue with you because that your argument may as well be true. We have no idea. But I'm not going to sit here and say TNA exposed AEW and AEW is lying. We do not know what happened, and we probably never will know. But again, it sucks if you're Trey Miguel. I feel really bad for Trey Miguel. Again, I'm glad that he's, back on his feet making a living in TNA. And I'm glad that TNA had the sentence of re-signing him because he was basically done dirty. But if you're Trey Miguel, I mean, I guarantee you he's probably pissed. Because he just, again, he signed with all of his friends with AEW, probably had a huge pay raise, only to find out, yeah, you're immediately released because of some stuff that you said years ago. And now he's winding up back in TNA, probably making the same amount of money that he was before. That sucks, man. That's horrible. It's terrible. I feel really bad for Trey Miguel, man. I'm glad he's back on his feet, and at least he's on TNA. At least he's signed to a promotion. That's great. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to see wrestlers lose jobs. Wrestlers who lose, I don't want to see wrestlers who 100% deserve it lose jobs. I don't want to see that. You know what I'm saying? It sucks, man. It's horrible what happened to Trey Miguel. But hopefully Trey Miguel gets back on his feet. But it's a terrible situation. It really is a terrible, terrible, terrible situation.